Next on the agenda is the introduction of the delegation members. Let me start to my left with Senator Brutus.
Thank you, Joe Gruters, State Senator, represent Sarasota and Charlotte counties, and glad to be here. Looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say. Obviously, we're in the challenging times, and this year is going to be a lot different in terms of people's access, I think, in Tallahassee itself. But I will tell you that our delegation leader, your delegation leader, Representative Michael Grant, is with his position as majority leader in the House, and with Ben Albritton, you have very capable and competent leadership representing you, and I think that together we'll be able to help you as much as we possibly can.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Albritton.
Yes, good morning, everybody. First thing I want to say is that it's a huge blessing to be able to represent Charlotte County and to be on this delegation. No question about it. Deeply blessed, very thankful for it. Representative Grant, great leader for this area. I'll just echo what Senator Gruters had said. I'll tell you, I sit on 8 delegations. I represent all or part of 8 counties. And this is, don't tell anybody, my favorite delegation. Because of you, and I'm just thankful for that. So I agree also with Senator Gruters. It's going to be a tough year this year. We have some financial challenges that we're going to work through. Here's the good news. The good news is that we're required to balance our budget. So we're not going to deficit spend. What we know is, although that's human nature, the folks in our state were smart enough to put it together so that we don't do that. And so we're going to make the hard choices. We're going to balance our budget and do the best we can to be fair with everybody. But it is going to be a tough year. Doesn't mean we can't do good policy and work on some other things. But anyhow, just be thoughtful about that. And we're going to do the best we can to look out for the community, I promise.
Thank you, Senator. Very briefly, I would echo your comments. It is going to be a tough year. I just got back from a meeting in Tallahassee yesterday with the Speaker of the House and the Appropriations Chair. And we're concerned about the budget as much as you all are at the local level. We're also concerned about how we are going to do our business in this time of COVID, when people are wearing masks, we're trying to socially distance. And yet a lot of the work we have to do in Tallahassee is person to person and people to people. That is going to present some challenges to both the Senate and to the House of Representatives. But we're hoping that once the vaccine gets distributed, we can probably overcome some of those. And if we have a trying time this session, we'll get through that, and next year will be a better year for all of us. That's what we sincerely hope. I think they were just saying nice things about me previously because they didn't want to be the delegation chair, but that is our next order of business. So if somebody would like to make a motion.
I move that Representative Grant is the new delegation chair for the upcoming cycle.
Oh, I'm happy to second that.
Well, I can't veto senators, that's for sure. All right, let the record show that Representative Michael Grant, myself, has been nominated and elected to be the delegation chair for Charlotte County for the 2020-2021 delegation meetings moving forward. Do we have any old business? I see none. Elected officials, boy, we have a bunch of them here. Members of the Board of County Commissioners, would you all like to stand? I see Commissioner DeSeo, Chris Consons, Bill Truex. Anybody else? Let me put my glasses on. School board members, welcome. Nice to see you here. City council members, please stand. Well represented, thank you. And I know your administrators here too. Welcome to Charlotte County. Welcome to your first delegation meeting, Greg. Nice to have you here. Airport Authority members? Way in the back. There you are. I see Vanessa Oliver. I see Jim Hurston. Bob Hansick, welcome, sir. And who else am I missing? Is that it? Anyway, thank you all for being here. I know you're going to come up and present. I would caution you, we're going to give the elected bodies in the county 5 minutes to do the presentation, but everybody else will get 3 minutes. We have, I know Senator Albritton has to get to another delegation meeting later on this afternoon. We have a lot of material that you have presented to us, which we appreciate, and we will go through that. And hopefully we will get to know you a little bit better and get to know your issues a little bit better and get to know your needs and wants a little bit better. So let me begin by asking the Honorable Bill Trucks to come forward and make a presentation, please. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you, sir. I'm on microphone. Hopefully everybody can hear me. How you doing? Good morning, everyone. Wow. I umpired for 18 years. I have a projected voice. First of all, forth, and it's been passed again for another 6 years. Our CAT team is flourishing and doing wonderful things for families in this community, and 2021 will mark our centennial year. Charlotte County is positioned for tremendous economic growth, and we appreciate the state's trust and investment in our community. Charlotte County supports state funding that best serves the diversity of our county's needs. This year, given the reality of potential budgetary restraints, we know it's a little more than potential at this point, but we create a list of legislative priorities that allow the delegation to best choose what projects they believe can get through the fiscally challenged session. Charlotte County is fortunate to receive investment from the state for beach nourishment, which assists in our tourism, and recurring funding for our community action team, helping families and enhancing the county's standard of living, and for that we continue to thank you. Funding requests. Charlotte County is aimed to provide a menu of options, which I believe you received, in which the delegation can choose from for the upcoming session. These range in funding from the construction of Countryman Ackerman Septic Sewer Project for $2 million, funds for countywide security assessment and upgrades for $2 million, to help improve the county's security infrastructure, and then funds to replace the fire station number 2, $2.3 million, to provide improved facilities for our brave men and women in uniform. The 2021 state legislative agenda, one-pagers and item sheets are attached. Many different funding areas that you will all have to choose from, and the details are in the packet. Charlotte County is pursuing a number of policy positions this legislative session. As was mentioned earlier, in 2021, it will mark our centennial year, and we would humbly request a resolution from the state legislature to mark such an occasion. Our policy requests range from modernizing sunshine law for county, state, and emergencies to allow county elected officials to participate in emergency-related briefings, to exempting the home addresses of security personnel, county administrators, and county attorneys. And you can find more details again in Paul's request in your documents. We believe that the state and local governments are partners in protecting the health, safety, and welfare of our communities. To preserve this partnership, Charlotte County will support state policies which benefit the economic development, environment, and social health of Charlotte County and its citizens. We oppose legislative changes to fiscal decisions which impact county revenues, such as unfunded mandates, revenue limitations, trust fund diversions, or cost shifts. We support local flexibility to address problems by honoring home rule and avoiding unnecessary preemptions of local authority. And finally, though I understand it's been removed from the City of Punta Gorda's legislative agenda, we took action on Tuesday in reference to the airport authority. And I will read as follows. Finally, respectfully, I'd like to acknowledge the conversations and actions regarding the airport authority that took place over the last few days. Charlotte County opposes the City of Punta Gorda's 2021 legislative request, which has been removed, to be clear, to become the principal partner and the owner of Punta Gorda Airport. We support Chapter 2011-263, Section 19, which states that for any reason the authority shall terminate, be terminated, or cease operation or existence for any cause or reason, then upon such termination or cessation, title to all property, real, personal, or mixed, tangible or intangible, of whatever kind and wheresoever located, shall immediately vest in the county, which by and through the board is hereby authorized to exercise any and all powers herein granted to the authority for the purpose herein expressed. We understand our statutory responsibility, and we stand ready to assume that responsibility should it arise. That is where we stand, gentlemen, on that issue. We support the airport authority. I think if anybody watched our meeting on Tuesday, they would have seen that. The county would stand ready to assist them should they deem it appropriate, meaning the authority deem it appropriate. We would assist them in any way they would choose. If there's any further confusion about our position, I would refer you to our county administrator's letter from Hector Flores, which I will provide you their copy of before I leave. And I know we're all passionate about this county and its future. This moment must be an opportunity for us all to work together for a prosperous Charlotte County future. I want to thank you again for the opportunity to present here today. Thank you for your service. I know you've got a full copy of our legislative agenda. I believe you each have my cell phone number, and should you have any questions, concerns, comments, or requests, you feel free to call me at any point in time. And with that, I also have a centennial calendar. Come on, a little better.
Thank you.
So we know what we do. Again, thank you for your time, gentlemen. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. You can always tell somebody who's done this before. They are very succinct and right on time. Next up, we have Wendy Atkinson, Chairman of the Charlotte County School Board. Wendy, welcome. Nice to see you again. Can we get another microphone, by the way, somewhere?
Good morning, gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on all of your appointments, which are going to definitely benefit Charlotte County. Representative Grant is Majority Leader, and Senator Gruters as the Senate Education Chair, and Senator Albritton as the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee Chair on Agriculture, Environment, and General Government as Vice Chair for Children, Families, and Elder Affairs. Our preliminary 2021 priorities were simple: to hold education harmless from budget reductions, help us close the student achievement gap, and give us flexibility to meeting state requirements. We know the revenues are going to be tight for the 2021-2022 fiscal and school year. It is critical, however, to at least maintain the same level of funding as unanimously recommended by the State Board of Education and Commissioner Richard Corcoran on September the 23rd. As part of that, this year districts assumed a $230+ million increase statewide in the Florida retirement employer contribution costs. Education counts for over half of that. State economists are saying another similar increase will be needed for the next year, and it's important to either have help from the legislature to cover that increase or defer the increase to the following year. We also want to maintain a strong accountability program for our students and instructional staff, but feel some accommodation is needed given the disruption that COVID-19 has caused last spring and the uncertainty we've had the first part of this year. Thus, we're asking that the 2020 waivers on how portions of the accountability system are applied continue to be waived for the rest of this year, and want to work with you on developing a strong plan to close the achievement gap by 2022. We look forward to having those conversations. We thank Senator Albritton, who took a special interest last year, and hope we can pursue a change in legislation that would help districts achieve achievement at state-rated A designation. Simply, we ask authority to seek waivers allowed to A-rated schools that by approved plan would focus on student achievement and more effective school operations. Again, we look forward to working with you on that. The ultimate option is to look at Texas and Georgia, who've authorized multi-year agreements between the individual school districts and their state education departments for greater flexibility in return for a commitment to increase student performance. I want to thank you all for your continued support for our students, our parents, and our educators. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have, and we are all here to help you with all things K-12 educational. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to leave the microphone up there so we don't have to keep passing it back and forth. I assume everybody can hear me okay? Great. Next up, we have the Honorable Lynn Matthews, Mayor, and Greg Murray, Manager of the City of Punta Gorda. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, Mike, which one?
It's a little easier to talk when I'm the mascot. Congratulations first to all of you on re-elections and new appointments, and congratulations, Chairman Grant. I believe this is the first time we've had a Charlotte County representative as the majority leader. So a very, very big deal for us, and we appreciate all of
It's a
you.
big deal.
We appreciate your we truly appreciate appreciate your service to our community and to the state. We have a singular request this year, and you've already been told a little bit about our other request that was removed from our agenda. So the city is seeking $100,000 in funding for our water quality project on the east side of our city. It's a very important project to us, and I know water quality is very important to all of you as well, especially with the new committee that Senator Albritton will be chairing. I think it's something that's very near and dear to our hearts. But we have a community on the east side of our city that is in a very low-lying area, and they have significant flooding every time there's a major rain event. To the point where their houses are very near to being underwater. There's a lot of young families with children over there, and it becomes a safety hazard. So for the sake of our public safety of our residents, we really would love to get this project completed. We've already begun the engineering and design phase and acquisition of some of the properties to build our retention area, but we do need some assistance, if at all possible, from the state level. So we feel very strongly that this is something that we should complete the project on. We've been working on this for about 4 years and starting to really gain some momentum at this point. And you know, we have the city of Punta Gorda is probably about 2/3 water-related homes and properties. Most of the properties in the, well, almost all of Punta Gorda Isles and Burnstone Isles are all waterfront homes. And a lot of our other properties throughout the city are adjacent to waterways. And a lot of the runoff goes into Charlotte Harbor, the Peace River, Alligator Creek, and other neighboring waterways. So what we want to do is try to eliminate some of the runoff of the extra nitrogen and phosphorus that's going into the water from fertilizers and other things. But we want to also control things like mosquitoes and airborne things that may be causing problems for our residents. So this project is very near and dear to us, and we really would love to have your support on it. And we hope we can get you to go to Tallahassee and fight for us. And I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
Just one question. What's the cost of the project?
We're asking for $100,000. Our project itself is going to cost, I believe it's $4 million in total. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Hard work.
Good luck in Tallahassee.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jim Preston, Chair of the Punta Gorda Airport Authority, and Vanessa Oliver, Legislative Liaison. Welcome. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is James W. Hurston, and I am chairman of the Charlotte County Airport Authority. And we are honored basically to come to you today and make our presentation on our priorities. Before I start, though, I'd like to introduce a couple people, if I may. We have Vanessa Oliver. Where are you at, Vanessa? There she is. She's our newest member of the board. She's an attorney, and she is a great representative of the people. I've heard her talk several times, and she is very much appreciated. We have James Parrish, our CEO. James, bring it up. There's James. And we have Kaylee Miller, who is our marketing and communications manager. Where are you at, Kaylee? She is. But getting to our priorities, and I'm sure you've been copied with our letter, but we're concerned about the impact of minimum wage staged increases and how it will adversely affect our interns, our student employees, and our seniors. And we're especially concerned about our seniors who already work limited hours at our airport, and just to keep their gross income below non-taxable levels. And you know, the results of such impacts will have to limit their hours further. So we would like some thoughtfulness to that legislation for giving these groups exemptions. And then item number 2, in cooperation with the Florida Airports Council, we would like to request amendments to House Bill 915 to remove the reference to Chapter 287 categories and thresholds. We suggest changing references from Category 3 to $100,000 and references from Category 5 to $1 million. And also, we've added item number 3 to our letter, which I think we all protect each other's turf, and we're elected by the population here in Charlotte County to do such a thing. And so we've added the Charlotte County Airport Authority is adamantly against any consolidation or assimilation into Charlotte County government or the city of Punta Gorda or any other government entity for as far as that goes. The Charlotte County Airport shall oppose any and all efforts to change its status from an independent government entity, and the Charlotte County Airport Authority shall remain an independent government entity providing service to the residents of Charlotte County and the region. But gentlemen, those are our 3 priorities for 2021. Anybody have any questions?
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
What the fiscal impact if we changed that House Bill number 15 and did those amendments, what the cost savings to the Charlotte County Airport would be?
I can give you that information. If I could have Mr. Parrish speak on that, he's the expert in that area.
The cost savings to us are minimal, probably about $15,000 to $30,000 a year. It affected Punta Gorda Airport a lot less than it affected some of the major airports. Cost savings to Miami, as an example, they submitted to FAC is close to $1 million a year.
Anything else?
No, sir. Any other questions? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Merry Christmas. Next up, we have PMC. Welcome, Commissioner. I will state in advance that you run the airport for 24 years.
24 years, yes, sir.
I appreciate your service. You and I were on there from 1998 to 2004 as I recall. We have some bad scars from those days, and I guess they continue.
I don't think they always will, and part of that is, may I?
Yes, please.
Part of that is because the airport authority has become a very important part of this entire community and has done a tremendous job in marshaling its resources. And right now, gentlemen, you know full well that there is a challenge before the state. We see the COVID, we see the impact on tourism, we see the impact, certainly we see the impact on the airport. We see that there's going to be less money available. I say you're probably looking at a pretty significant shortfall, but that's for you to decide. The Charlotte County Airport Authority had an opportunity very recently, over the last, actually, for the past 4 years, they've been looking at public-private partnerships. One that came forward was an opportunity for an investment of $1 billion into the airport and this community. Unfortunately, it breaks my heart that without any review of any true proposal before them, they said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to look. At a time when this could have made a significant difference and had a tremendous impact, not just on the community, but the airport and certainly Charlotte County, the state. I believe that they should have, but that's my opinion. I am not a board member anymore. I would like, however, to ask you to talk to the airport, to request that they reconsider their position. They have been the shining star here in this county as an independent special district. It is their independence that has led them to success. However, it has also led to some provincialism and failure to look at the future. And I think this is something they need to examine. And if it is not in the best interest of the airport and the community, then say no. But don't just say no without looking at it, when right now it could be the difference between success and failure for here and the community. So I would ask you, encourage them to look at it again, to find a way to examine an opportunity that very well could salvage a lot of the things that you've been asked for already. It could have been paid for. The investment might have been over $1 billion right here in this county. That's a lot of money. and it could have meant a lot of difference. So anyway, I want to thank you very much, and for all that you have done for the Airport Authority over the years. You've been tremendous, and your return on investment has been darn fine. And I think the Airport Authority needs to be congratulated for that, and in particular, where's Mr. Parrish?
He's outside.
He's left already? He's got work to do. It is his guidance that has led to a lot of that success. So I want to thank you and thank them.
Again, thank you for your service and for your passion for the airport and to this community. It means a lot. And under your leadership at the airport, I think a lot of those positive changes have occurred. So, having sat there, I know how difficult it is, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Rick Brown. Hey, Mr. Brown, welcome.
Good morning, Chairman.
You can take up your mask.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for your service on the airport and what the years past. Make this brief, just as an introduction who I am. I've been involved in aviation for 55 years. I'm still active as an aviation consultant for the Southwest Asia country, revitalizing their aviation sector. I've been an expert witness with the U.S. Congress. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force veteran, Vietnam era veteran, Desert Storm combat veteran. I'm a retired major airline pilot. I'm a co-founder with my wife, Jan Brown, of Frontier Airlines in 1993. I'm a former FAA air carrier inspector. I'm a former tenant of the Punta Gorda Airport. I would like to discuss two important items. And this was in the paper this week, and I thank the Sun for assisting me with these items of discussion. First, one is Punta Gorda officials' airport takeover, and then secondarily, the privatization of the Punta Gorda Airport. On Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, the City Council asked state legislatures to consider action that could dissolve the airport authority, potentially transferring airport operations to the city. 2 days later, on Thursday, December 10th, that's today, the airport drops the bid for the airport privatization. Mayor Lynn Matthews stated, "We're not trying to undermine the Board of County Commissioners. That was never our intent, nor do we really have any burning desire to run the airport." And the Vice Mayor, Debbie Carey, stated, "We're not the evil empire trying to take over the airport." Sounds like a couple of elected officials trying to cover their tracks, in my opinion. Apparently, the city manager, Greg Murray, and a consultant, Andy Bassi, developed this hastily planned business plan. The plan was presented to the city council, who voted to approve the plan. Where are the checks and balances to gather this important information prior to passing such an important plan, as the previous speaker just talked about? As an aside, it's my understanding that the airport was originally given to the Charlotte County after World War II, and it would revert back to the county, not the city. According to an op-ed in the Sun today, the opinion stated it's a very simple, and I'm not sure I agree with this, but what the Sun said, a very simple attempt at a money grab on part of City Council. Item 2, privatization of the Punta Gorda Airport. I strongly recommend the airport remain public. There's only one airport in the United States that is private. That's the Stewart, New York Airport, and all major carriers have dropped service, terminated service in the airport, with Allegiant being the only air carrier operating in Stewart. The San Juan Airport in Puerto Rico was privatized in 2013, and its operation is apparently not very effective.
Mr. Brown, you have 15 seconds.
Okay. St. Louis Airport dropped their plan for privatization in May. Our airport's profitable, needs to stay that way so we can further develop airport facilities. There just isn't a rational business reason to use airport funds for other than airport issues.
Mr. Brown, your time is up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Next up, we have Pat Lehman from the Peace River, Minnesota Regional Law Supply. Welcome, sir.
Morning.
Nice to see you again.
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Grant, Senators Albrecht and Bruce. On behalf of the Authority, Water Supply Authority and its members, which include Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte, DeSoto counties, I want to thank you for all you've done to help create and ensure a resilient water supply for our region, and especially to Senator Albritton. As you drive up to DeSoto County, up US 17 today, I want you to be proud of the Punta Gorda RO facility that is operational and the interconnecting pipeline along US 17 connecting to DeSoto County that is in service. So sometimes you don't get the feedback of what you've done in Tallahassee years prior, but thank you very much for that. Our partnership over the years has provided a regional water system that is a model in the state. We provide over 30 million gallons a day, providing the bulk of the water to Charlotte, DeSoto, and Sarasota County utilities. We look forward to continuing the partnership with the state, the water management districts, our local governments to meet the future water needs of our 4 counties. We recognize, obviously, your challenging budget process this year. As much as we'd like money trickling down from Tallahassee, it's not everything. There is a bright future, so let's plan for that brighter future. We want to work with you this year to help on regulations that are obstacles and help create new regulations that present opportunities for the future, to be prepared for a resilient water supply for economic growth and our quality of life. So let me give you one example of that. Over recent years, statutes, regulations have allowed for longer-term water use permits. As we invest long-term in debt for infrastructure, longer-term permits were looked at admirably by the rating agencies. SWIFMA gave us a 50-year permit so that we have a supply secured for the future. The rating agencies loved it. They upped our credit rating. We went to the bond market. We refinanced some of our debt, saving $20 million over the next 20 years. That's money in the ratepayers' pockets. Not a penny from the state budget, just common sense regulation. Our legislative priorities are in your book. We support the continued development of alternative water supply, water storage, reservoir aquifer storage recovery, and the continued reuse and recycle under the One Water Management area. Legislation that benefits both water supply and the environment. We stand ready to provide our experience and knowledge to help you work through some of these issues into the future and make some common sense that helps the local governments. So we give you Godspeed on this legislative session, and happy holidays to all. Thank you very much.
Just one thing, when you get a chance, would you give me a call? It has nothing to do with this, I'm just looking for some information.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
You too.
Next up, we have Dr. Jeff Aldridge, Florida Southwest State College. Welcome, sir, nice to see you.
Senator, good to see you again. Gentlemen, how you doing? Mom did say hi last night. We're out in Lades County yesterday, so we've seen each other. So, good morning and welcome. A couple things I just wanted to say before we get into, you have my one-pager, our legislative budget request. You know, we've been here in Charlotte County for over 40 years. We've had 2 different centers, and we've had a permanent campus presence here since the 90s, so we are truly invested in this area as all of our 5 counties we service. Very happy to announce this last year, the opening of something that was sort of interesting for everyone, our Pickleplex complex. It's highly utilized, and it's a beautiful place. If you haven't been out to campus to see it, I urge you to do that. They're out there all the time. Some things we're doing in Charlotte County. There was this little thing, you might have heard of it, it's called COVID. It happened this year, and as we shut down and tried to figure out how to re-deal with things, I'm very happy to say that we've reopened this fall with 38% of our courses on ground. The state average is 15. So there was a demand for that. We are not 100% online, nor do I ever want to be 100% online. So we are doing 5 different modalities of instruction. So we are servicing the people as the needs are, and we're taking extra precautions. And we've had our moments throughout the fall, but we have made it. We're in the final weeks of this fall semester. It's nearly over, I'm happy to say. In Charlotte County specifically, some of the math faculty at this campus have been working on a project that got funded to help with open educational resources for math books, because one of the big things I know that the governor's point has been about the cost of textbooks. That has been a major issue. So we're working on this issue in several fronts, and right here in Charlotte County, trying to find alternative ways for students to be able to not have to carry so much more debt. Also, our corporate training department has secured 4 quick response training grants for Cheney Brothers right here in the county in Port Charlotte for a total of $2.9 million to train 1,680 new hires to support their business growth in the region. So I'm very happy to just share just a couple of pieces. I've got a lot more I can share with you. On the one-pager, knowing the difficulties this year, I don't see there's any proposed increases of the overall system, the FCS system budget. We serve 22, 23,000 students in our 5 county region, and you're going to hear today others who are wanting more funding and appropriations for things like nursing, and we support our sister institution at GCU. We've got nursing programs in all 3 counties. We're the largest and oldest nursing program in Southwest Florida. In fact, our nursing is celebrating 50 years this year in nursing. It is an immense cost because there's no differential cost for nursing students recognized by the state, at least for the college system. So we build every one nursing student is built on the back of 3 English majors. That's kind of how we have to do it. There's no way to differentiate the cost. If I was making a business decision, I would shut nursing down this afternoon because I'm losing with every student that comes in. But that's not what we're about. We're trying to figure out how to do this without being able to charge extra fees or things to the. It's a highly expensive program, but it is one that we're very proud of, a very preeminent program. So when you hear about that, all of us need help support that local workforce initiative for sure. I've got a couple of eco projects on there. I don't expect much motion on those, but these are constantly coming back. Not new buildings, this is renovations of old existing buildings. And the one thing I mentioned yesterday, and it's really important, it's a small one. It was 2 years ago when it was last year actually, when some of the digits money just vanished, and it's been there forever. It's been one of those backbones where that was kind of what we counted on. It was $1 million for us, not huge, but when you're counting on it to do things like fixing things up, repairing it, that is our one source. That's an important thing for us as well. So I'm not going to sit here and laundry list all of that, but any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
We're good, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you all very much. Thank you all. Have a good holiday season.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ida Lemoyne, Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel. Welcome, nice to see you.
Hello, Senator. Always nice to see you. Good morning. Oh, hello, Senator. Good morning, Senators and Representatives. My name is Ethan Emoton, and I'm the Regional Counsel for the 2nd District Court of Appeal. Thank you for allowing me to present today. There are 5 regional councils in the state of Florida. We are nominated by the Supreme Court Nominating Commission, appointed by the governor, and confirmed by the full Florida Senate. I was very honored to have been appointed in 2011. My district starts in Naples and encompasses 14 counties, which include Fort Myers, Sarasota, Tampa, Clearwater, Newport Richey, Charlotte County, and go through Dade City. I represent about 6 million people and about 80 cities. I have a budget close to $11 million and 140 attorneys and staff. The Office of Criminal Conflict and Civil Regional Counsel was created by the legislature to control the rising costs from private court-appointed registry attorneys. Our main classes of cases are criminal conflict cases from the Public Defender's Office, dependency and civil cases, and certain statutorily authorized civil commitment proceedings. This year, our priorities are 6 FTE dependency attorneys and 2 forensic social workers, a cross-jurisdictional death penalty program providing death penalty litigation across the state of Florida at reduced costs, and CLE in-house education. We continue to strive to represent our clients and save taxpayer dollars. I look forward to working with you all in Tallahassee on these issues. I hope you have a great holiday season, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next up, the Dearest Salim Children's Network of Southwest Florida. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Children's Network has been serving our community, including Charlotte County, since 2003. We are the Child Welfare Community-Based Care Lead Agency. Our responsibility is to take care of the children and families who have been subjected to abuse, neglect, and abandonment. Today in Charlotte County, we are responsible for about 375 children. Good news is that about a couple of hundred of those kids are still living in the home of their biological parents and relatives safely with services, and another 70 are in foster homes and group homes. We have the lowest percentage of kids in group home in the entire state of Florida, and that's something we're really proud of, despite the fact that we're getting more and more teens coming into foster care from other systems, such as Department of Juvenile Justice, or coming out of Baker Acts, where the parents refuse to accept the kids. We call those lockout cases. About 50% of the kids in our care right now that are 16 years of age came to us at 15 and 16. We have more 16-year-olds in care than we do 10-year-olds. You know, child welfare was designed to protect victims of child abuse. And to me, there's just something not right about having less 9 and 10-year-olds than you do 16 and 17-year-olds. So this year, we will be looking to you and asking for your help to help us come up with another system, a hybrid, something that will help us build something that can take care of those really tough, challenging teens. November, we celebrate National Adoption Month. I know that's near and dear to your heart. So we have so far adopted 15 kids in Charlotte County. Our goal for Southwest Florida is to adopt 200 children. I have no doubt we will do that. Our history here is that we have adopted over 2,000 kids in Southwest Florida since we arrived. So you gave us funding last year. I want to thank you for that. Our caseloads were high. The goal was to reduce the caseloads for certified case managers to 17 children to 1 case manager. And we managed to bring the whole team to Charlotte County, added a team of case managers, and we reduced the caseload effectively to about 17 and 18. And where that shows is in our performance. We have 12 performance measures called scorecards. I know you've heard about that in our contracts. And Children's Network has met and exceeded 11 of those 12 measures. It's something we're really proud of. The one we're struggling with is re-entry of kids into foster care a year after we close our case and we terminate our involvement. I won't bore you with the reasons, you know them. It's relapse, substance abuse, and now domestic violence, since COVID started, has risen to be the #1 maltreatment that we're seeing come across. Today, at 12:30, there's a Zoom event hosted by First Lady Casey DeSantis called An Act of Good Faith. I invite everybody, the community, to join us. It will be a panel with Tony Dungy and several others to really shake up the faith community to step up and help us. A lot of our foster parents come from the faith community, so I just wanted to publicly invite everyone to come. And that is it, and I thank you.
Let me just make a comment. I've gone to a couple of the adoption ceremonies in Charlotte County over the last few years. Unfortunately, we couldn't this year because of COVID. If you want something to tear at your heart, if you want to know what true grace and true love is, I would suggest you go to one of those adoptions at the courthouse. It is really heart-rendering, and I obviously support everything that you've done and your agency has done, and the measures that you have taken to get such high schools. It is truly an amazing achievement, and you have to be congratulated. Thanks for that. You are doing the community a great service. So
Thank you, everyone.
next up, we have Michael Nation. Michael, how are you?
Great, Mr. Chairman, and yourself?
Unfortunate to have the same first name.
It's a strong name.
Yes, it is. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senators, for having us. Senator Albert, and I apologize, some of this information will be a little bit redundant from yesterday in Glades County, but
Really honored to be here with you today and speak a little bit about Lee Health. As you might remember, Lee Health is the largest employer in Southwest Florida, 14,000 employees. We have 900 openings right now, so we're grateful with our partnership with Florida Gulf Coast and Florida Southwestern State. We're training a lot of our nurses, and I know we'll continue to do that. They're a great part of our workforce, and we're certainly grateful for their efforts. This year, we have a number of legislative requests, mostly related to funding initiatives that are granted authority by the legislature, not actual dollars. So we're asking for authority to draw down a federal share with local dollars and programs like directed provider payments, which ACA has requested of CMS and the legislature will need to approve. The way that program works is local dollars will go up to the feds, come back through HMOs and PSNs to be delivered for qualified Medicaid visits to providers throughout Medicaid regions. Medicaid Region 8, you have providers like Sarasota Memorial, Lee Health, NCH, Fawcett, and a number of others that will be treating patients and all will be eligible. Doesn't matter if they're public or private. Also, graduate medical education, another program that we have had language in proviso in the back of the budget for the last few years. We've been able to draw down money for Medicaid Region 8 to train more doctors locally, keep them here. We keep about 60% of the doctors we train in our GME programs, and really that's a standard across the country, but we've kept more than 20 doctors here since we opened the program, and we're looking forward to doing more of that. As it relates to our enabling legislation, we're looking to codify some of our existing practices like our facility in Babcock Ranch and our outpatient facilities here in Charlotte County and across the 5-county region. We have our trauma center that serves Charlotte County as well as our children's hospital, and the Enabling Act will be sponsored by Representative Roach down in Lee County. Saturday, you'll have an opportunity to vote on that at the Lee County Legislative Delegation, and hopefully if all goes to plan, Chairman, you'll see it in committees and on the House floor and on a consent agenda eventually. So we'll be working hard towards that goal. Aside from that, the efforts in and around COVID-19, our frontline staff have really been going to work every day and doing a lot for this community and partnering with our local governments, our school systems, our state government, and the number of the other providers in the region to do everything as safely as humanly possible and to make sure that we're keeping things open and protecting the people in the region. You may know that yesterday, Senator, I had mentioned that the Revenue Estimating Conference said we might see 600 to 800,000 more people on Medicaid as a result of COVID-19. That's certainly going to put strain on general revenue in the state budget. Fortunately, a lot of Medicaid is funded in Florida through local dollars and federal dollars, and with the increased federal matching rate going on right now, we're advocating in Congress to keep that going and help offset any pains on the state general revenue to make sure that we have the resources we need to care for folks in Florida. Those are the high-level things that are going on, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. See you, Lee County. Next up, we have Rob Tabor from the Florida Behavioral Health Network. Sir?
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman, Senators, for the opportunity to come before you today to talk about behavioral health services. As you stated, my name is Robert Tabor, representing Central Florida Behavioral Health Network, your managing entity for the Southwest region and Circuit 10. Central Florida is one of the largest and most experienced managing entities. Florida legislature created managing entities to develop and manage a publicly funded substance abuse and mental health safety net system of care. Currently, we manage 200 million annual allocations while serving 120,000 folks, many more in prevention. 120, let me state, or in treatment services. Every year, because of your unselfish generosity, many of our fellow Floridians receive the care they need to make healing and recovery a reality. For that, we say thank you. As we all know, 2020 has been the most challenging year for the entire world, as well as Florida, as we face COVID-19. It has changed the way we live, work, receive health care, including behavioral health care services. With your assistance, we've been able to remain open transition to telehealth services, provide PPEs to frontline staff, and with our media partners, we've been able to launch media campaigns for PSAs that covered our entire network and system of care to let people know how to access behavioral health care services. We know there's more to come as a nation, as a state. And as we continue to struggle from COVID-19 and recovery, the need for behavioral health services will continue to rise. I believe we've supplied you a one-page infographic sheet that demonstrates the grim reality of this past year and future budget cuts. These reductions it's not good news for the state of Florida, as many of our most vulnerable citizens rely on the safety net of care. We only ask that you hold behavioral health care services harmless in the upcoming budgetary session. We ask that you help provide PPEs so that we can continue providing those to our frontline care across the 14 counties in which we serve. We also ask that you review and continue to support the $3.5 million in care coordination dollars and make that recurring. As always, we work collaboratively across our network and publicly funded providers and stakeholders to meet the needs of Floridians and make the best use of these scarce funds. As always, we are here for you and your staff and look forward to meeting with each one of you soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Wendy Scanlon from Child Behavioral Health Care.
Good morning. I am so excited to not have a formal legislative ask this year. And so, first, I want to echo the thanks of the commission. For 4 years, we worked tirelessly. You worked tirelessly to advocate for us in Tallahassee, and we were finally awarded a fully funded, recurring CAT team this past session. So, CDHC and myself, we feel very blessed to have legislators like you who truly understand the importance of behavioral health and the immediate economic and social impact that it has in Charlotte County. So thank you we don't have to educate you on that. Thank you for understanding that importance. Representative Grant, I want to thank you. In the past session, you sponsored the entire state's behavioral health budget from the House side, and I believe that really helped us on a local level in achieving the CAT team. So thank you for those efforts. Just a very quick update on the team. The team is doing really well. Obviously, they are working with the youth and the families in Charlotte County who are struggling the most. And these services are pivotal now more than ever because the folks that we serve are very affected by COVID economically and socially as well. So that's really it. It's a very short thank you. I ask that you please continue your unwavering support of behavioral health and the funding. I echo Rob Tabor's comments that behavioral health is more important than ever. We're seeing a rise in overdoses locally. And so those services will be pivotal now and in the months and years to come. And so I wish you all a happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and thank you again for the Charlotte County CAT team.
Thank you again for your next up, we have Debbie Osborne, Conservation Foundation for 12 Coast.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you today. We ask that you appropriate at least $300 million in Land Acquisition Trust Fund and ensure that Florida Forever funds are used to acquire land and conservation easements as intended by the Florida voters in 2014. We also ask and request that Rural and Family Land Protection program receive at least $50 million. We do want to thank you for the funding that did come through the budget last year, and that allowed the acquisition of the 7,000 acres right here near Charlotte County, protecting your drinking water supply, Orange Hammock Ranch. Since 1967, Florida citizens have taxed themselves to conserve portions of our beautiful state. In addition to public recreation, conserved lands ensure our drinking water is clean and abundant. Conserving land also protects our waters so that they are fishable and swimmable, and our tourist economy depends on them. Here in Charlotte County, there are many lands remaining on the Florida Forever list that can still be acquired, including those around the Charlotte Harbor Estuary and the Charlotte Harbor Flatwoods Protection Area. We're right now working with Florida DEP at 8 acres in the very popular Don Pedro Island State Park. In addition to the funding programs, there are Florida Forever, there are other programs that don't actually increase the management costs of the state. We encourage the legislature to continue to fund the Florida Community Trust, which provide grants to local governments and land trusts such as ours to buy lands and parks. Also, acquiring conservation easements keeps the land in private ownership and requires those landowners to manage the land while still protecting the land and often the drinking water supply and all of our waterways that bleed into our beautiful Gulf. Conservation Foundation are thousands of supporters implore that you provide much needed funds to conserve the special places here in Florida that drive our economy, protect our drinking water, and ensure our farms and ranches are available to produce our food. Please support appropriate significant funds to Florida Forever, the Land Acquisition Trust Fund, as well as the Rural and Family Lands Program. Our way of life depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning. Chair Grant, I want to thank you in particular for your sponsorship of the Red Tide legislation in the House, and Senator Gruters, thank you very much for your strong support in sponsoring that in the Senate, as well as all your support and sponsorship in the Remote Science Education Aquarium. And Senator Albritton, you've been a champion for years for Moat's efforts with sustainable agriculture and tech transfer. We're going to still keep plugging away at that. All three of you have been very consistent, strong supporters of Moat's innovative coral reef research and restoration, red tide mitigation, and STEM education initiatives. I want to thank you all for helping Florida demonstrate that science, the environment, and STEM education rise above politics. This has created a great climate for an atmosphere of game-changing investments in innovation in science and in education. Moat uses these investments to leverage philanthropic funds and bring in federal funds as well. I think the Moat Science Education Aquarium is going to be an iconic and highly impactful centerpiece for our entire region, for science, for the environment, and for STEM education. In terms of our legislative priorities for the upcoming session, it's critical that we continue supporting two ongoing economically and environmentally critical areas, and we request implementation of a third new priority to address coastal resiliency and sea level rise. As we're celebrating our recent accomplishments with coral reef restoration, we want to bring to your attention that we're now entering a very critical phase of this restoration process, and we ask for your continued support for that effort. As we're entering our second year of the 6-year partnership between Moat and the state FWC under the Florida Red Tide Mitigation Technology Development Initiative, we've also made significant advances in the fight against red tide. We'll be sharing in January our required progress report, the first progress report to the governor, to you all in the legislature and the agencies. But a critical issue that is facing Charlotte County and indeed all of Florida is that of coastal resiliency and the impacts of sea level rise, and how the state responds to this in a strategic way. Thus, in partnership with the Florida Ocean Alliance, we are seeking your support in updating the 2005 Ocean and Coastal Resources Act. The Alliance includes 30 nonprofit, private, and quasi-governmental entities. And they are supporting revision of the 2005 Act, which has been charged with developing priorities for ocean and coastal issues in the state and an implementation plan. It is sorely out of date. Appointments are out of date. Some of the folks that have been appointed have, God rest their souls, actually passed away. It's an incredibly cumbersome process. The last research plan came out in 2015, and it was basically a carbon copy of earlier reports. A 2021 Ocean and Coastal Resources Act would provide a statewide strategic approach and the expertise framework to help local governments and coalitions to implement coordinated mitigation initiatives to address coastal resiliency, sea level rise, and coastal flooding for decades to come. I want to underscore that it will also act as a framework for implementing the priorities that were presented in the 2020 state-sponsored strategic plan for Florida oceans and coast. And I want to underscore that the new 2021 Ocean and Coastal Resources Act would not be an appropriation request, but it's a very forward-leaning structural modification that is strictly a legislative change that we can make better, more efficient use of our existing programs here in the state and leveraging. Also want to wish you all a very happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas. Thank you all very
Good to
much.
see you. Next up, we have Lynn Doyler, who's the Girls Club of Charlotte County. Welcome, Lynn. Nice event last week.
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Chair, as you know, I'm the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Charlotte County, and I'm here to advocate for the kids in the state of Florida. As a member of the State Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs, it's important that we continue to support our kids, and with the legislation that you continue to support our appropriation that we ask for every year. Again, we'll be asking for money to help over 200,000 kids. You'll see this when you get into session. During this pandemic, our clubs have been resilient in our efforts to help our economy recover and help parents and people work. They provided, this state alliance is 33 members. It has provided millions of meals throughout the state to kids over the course of since early April. Millions of meals that kids wouldn't get if it wasn't for Boys and Girls Clubs. And that comes in different forms, from drive-through dinners to dry good boxes from like Harry Chapin, to fresh vegetables from like Wharton Farms. It varies from community to community. But your state appropriation is important to Charlotte County, don't get me wrong, but it is just as important to every other of those alliance members and the efforts that they do every day to help these kids. And during this pandemic, we learned a lot. We learned that this community, Charlotte County, is amazing. The people in this county are so willing to help others. From the meals that were provided through our school district lunches, which was fabulous. There was hundreds, maybe 100,000 or more over the course of the first couple of months of the pandemic. But just different things our community did to step up to help our kids and our people, not just our kids. And I think it's important for us as a Boys and Girls Club here locally to continue to provide hope so our kids can dream for a great future. I really do. We never closed. We did shift our operations. We never laid off or furloughed an employee. We kept finding ways to help kids and parents by providing services, resources, whatever we could do virtually, whatever it took. But then on June 1st, it was my big, we're going to open our doors on June 1st for summer camp. Sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for. And 13 weeks later, of 12-hour days, we found that our kids, 80% of our kids had no learning loss from the mid-year testing to the beginning of this year testing, which is amazing, the programs we were able to provide our kids. So again, help our kids dream, give our kids hope, and I thank you for what all you have done in the past and will continue to do to help support kids in our community. It's vital. They were hurt by the pandemic as much as anybody. And I want to thank you. I want to wish you a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas.
And I would like to thank you for being one of the local leaders in our community who helped our families and our children, more importantly, get through this pandemic so far. And I totally agree with you that without leaders like you showing the light, offering hope, they won't be able to do. So you've been in this community for how long? 15 years?
Yep.
Well, and you've made a difference. And no matter what happens going forward, know that you improve people's lives and children's lives, and take pride in that.
Well, thank you. Have a good day.
Next year, John Donner. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. My name is John Doner, and I am a member of the Board of Advisors of Florida Citizens Alliance, which is a 66,000-member organization in the state that is interested in public education. I'm also a president of a very small group trying to start a new charter school in Charlotte County. So my primary interest for many years has been to keep the education in our county and our state operating. So I'm here today to discuss several things. We have found over the years, as a parent and then a grandparent, I've sort of noticed the schools have reached a point where many parents say there's no particular transparency or response to the kinds of complaints or questions they wish to ask. So I'm here to advocate for a universal educational savings account plan, similar to the kinds of plans that have been available in medicine, where parents could, if they wished, take their children to a school of their choice and get the tuition payment effectively the same as parents use now when they go to a charter school. And another thing that would lead to competition, which I think is good for the public schools. Competition in the public school system would be to expand the access to our 4 major scholarship programs in the state: the Gardner, the Hope, Tax Credit, and Family Empowerment. All of these more or less deal with children who are in poor circumstances or handicapped. And in many cases, parents would find that a specialized school for those children would be a better choice. Also, alternate educational opportunities should as well require more schools. And charter schools were invented for exactly that purpose. Charter schools in this state have done very well. If you look at the Department of Education website, you will find that their write-up on charter schools indicates that, in general, the kids there are doing somewhat better than overall in the public schools, and that is even with the demographic mix, which does include many more minority students. So we feel that in the case of charter schools, we have one very hard nut to crack, and I know this as an individual working to produce a new charter school. And that nut is that the charter school charter must go through the public school board in the given county. This can be complicated, and in fact, I've been at school board meetings and watched school board personnel when they're considering a charter, and I know from experience that attitude tends to be hostile.
You're over 3 minutes, I'll give you another minute if you.
Okay, well, I can get this. Anyway, we're suggesting that the state find alternate authorities to charter or to approve the charters of charter schools. Finally, I'd like to urge your support of the legislation for parental bills of rights, which is being introduced by Representative Aaron Grohl and Senator Kelly Starkville in this coming session. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your presentation. Very informative. Dr. Pitts, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Richard Pitts, and it's a privilege to speak to you along with my colleague, Dr. John Doyler. Like Dr. Doyler, I am a member of Florida Citizens Alliance, and like all members, I am concerned with good education. To that end, what we have experienced, the ability to ask questions, to speak with those whose job it is to teach Florida's children, is not commensurate with the law. The indifference to the law requires that enforcement goes up to the law's demands. All instructional materials, regardless of their source, must be considered educational and thus fall under the laws as written. Again, enforcement is the key. If we are to live up to the admonition to have the best standards, then it is imperative that those who teach, along with those who administer, must adhere to the new standards and benchmarks for excellent student thinking without exception. Aligning teacher certificates with the best standards is not only essential, but imperative. Failure to comply promptly should come with investigation and responsibility. We do not seek punishment, but those who have the job to do what they are supposed to do must be held accountable. And finally, teaching is a sacred trust. What the young child learns from his or her teacher stays with them forever. To that end, protecting them cannot be done with admonitions, but also with the ability to enter into action at a moment's notice. With whatever it takes, we cannot wait when emergencies arise. We live in an increasingly violent world where our fellow citizens attack one another, all of whom were educated to know right from wrong and good from bad. We in Florida are not immune from what has now become commonplace. If our students are to be subject to attack, then it is imperative that those who are attacked should be defended by all means necessary, including the use of firearms. We are to experience education success. Strict adherence to the law is essential and no other. We cannot be indifferent to what is demanded and promote a good education. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Next we have Joe Williams, classroom canner and report cards. Welcome, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having us here today, taking the time out to listen to the folks and consider all the propositions and things. I'm here on behalf of parents' rights. I'm a parent of 5 daughters, sent all of my children through our local public school system. And over the years, I've multiple kids in multiple grades in different schools. I've seen quite a few things that I feel need to be looked into or possibly changed. However, time permitting, I'll only be able to talk about one or two. Right now, Charlotte County schools do not send out report cards in middle and high schools. Now, a report card used to be the standard back when we were growing up. And we'd have to take it home and have the parent's signature and take it back. Parents got a grade card and felt satisfied that they knew what their kids' grades are. That changed several years ago, and a system went into place called Focus, which is an online system that it's difficult for some people. I've found it personally to be inaccurate half of the time as it's not updated on a timely basis. It's a poor substitute for a paper report card. Now, that's not just me saying this. A couple of days ago, I put a straw poll out on Charlotte 941 Charlotte Scoop, which is a website in Charlotte County with over 11,000 members. And I asked a simple question. To the parents of Charlotte County students, should we be sending out report cards, or is Focus what you want? And I can tell you the response came back 2-to-1 for report cards. Now don't just take it from me. I'll read you some of the responses that I got here. One person said, I do not even have how to access the Focus thing. No one has ever tried to explain or tell me. I don't have a clue how my kids did last year. All right, here's another one, and I'll put it a little bit more politically correct than how it was written. Send home report cards. That Focus
BS is BS. The high school teachers do not update focus. Now, I found that to be true. Here's another one. I would rather have the report card in my hand. Hate the online system for report cards. Now, to be fair, some people did like the focus system. Here's one. I've had no issues with focus. I love being able to log in anytime and see my children's progress. However, I would like a paper report card. So even those that are familiar and able to access the system and feel that it works for them still want a paper report card.
Mr. Williams, you have 30 seconds, just so you know.
Okay, so I'm not going to get to the classroom camera point at this point. But what I am asking for is paper report cards to be mandated. It should be common sense. Some school districts do, some school districts don't. I feel parents have an absolute right to get a paper report card, and more parents will be more informed about their children's grades if indeed we did have to legislate this. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to legislate common sense. That's why we have laws against drunk driving and texting while driving. And this is one of those common sense things, fellas. I'd be happy to talk to any one of you about my many experiences over the years, but this is an important one, and it should be included in this Parents' Bill of Rights that you folks are considering. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your presentation. Next we have Vincent Walker. Welcome, Mr. Walker. Good morning, thank you.
I'd like to thank you for inviting me here today to speak on the dangers of secondhand smoke, which we need to adjust or revamp the existing laws that we have. I hope those of you who have received the handout have had a chance to review it. All of the information was taken from the CDC, the Cancer Society, the Cleveland Clinic, and California. Smoke from burning tobacco contains more harmful substances than inhaled smoke. Smoke contains more than 4,000 chemical compounds, of which 250 are toxic and 50 are known to cause cancer-causing agents. In 5 minutes, it stiffens the aorta. In 20 to 30 minutes, it may cause excess blood clotting, increase fat deposits in blood vessels, and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. Non-smokers who inhale secondhand smoke are affected by the chemicals contained in the smoke. In adults, secondhand smoke causes cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, lung cancer, breast cancer, leukemia, and lymphoma, just to name a few. The CDC says that at least 58 million Americans are exposed to secondhand smoke yearly. This is almost 25% of the American population. Bottom line, you don't have to smoke to get the adverse health effects of smoking, and the only way it can be eliminated is by leaving an affected area entirely. Separating smokers from non-smokers via a large window opening or by using air filters does not work. We also have third-hand smoke, which refers to the surfaces that exhaled smoke lands on. These gases linger on the tables and chairs for a long time and are known as toxins, which affect you long-term medically. Let's talk about the Florida statute of 386 Part 2, indoor air smoking and vaping. The legislative intent of this is the purpose of this part is to protect the people from health hazards of secondhand tobacco smoke and vapor, which is a law already. My time is a little short. I was going to read the paragraphs in there, but I'm not. So now this is not working as written. Most of the restaurants that are out here along 41 are all breaking the law. I can take you up and down Route 41 from Venice to Punta Gorda where the law is being broken every day and nobody's doing anything about it. It's ridiculous that I or anyone else can't sit in an outside area and enjoy a meal because the eateries are breaking the law. I was told to call the ABT and report it. Good luck with that. I got on the internet and you go from one website to another, so you really can't contact anybody. One of the reasons it doesn't work is because the mandatory signage that's supposed to be in these restaurants, and no one goes around to check to see if they're obeying the existing law. Now I know that we might say if we do this to businesses, this is always a big thing. The businesses will be in an uproar over losing business. Well, I heard the same thing in Connecticut where I lived for 33 years. But they passed a law, and not one business suffered financially. As a matter of fact, smoking statewide was reduced by 7% over several years. 81 to 84% of the people in Florida don't smoke. I would say they are the majority. It's time we updated this law to include no smoking within 15 feet of any restaurant or outdoor area where food is served, and that the state bring non-smoking area signs to every establishment and post them before they leave, and levy fines for not following the law.
Appreciate your presentation. Wish you all the best.
You too, Mayor.
Thank you. Next up, we have Michael Zarzano. Charlie, welcome, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I would like to address you, Senator Gruters, Senator Albritton, and Representative Grant. Thank you for being here today to listen to the people. As administrator of the Charlotte County Congress, I would like to introduce to you a new concept in self-governance. It was George Washington in the Continental Congress who spoke one time and one time only on the purpose of apportionment for representatives. He demanded no less than 40,000 people be appointed, apportioned to each representative. And that's why we have created what is called a county Congress, the United States County Congress. We are here today in Charlotte County to introduce you to this concept. It is not alien, it is actually part of our history, but it somehow got distracted and hijacked from the agenda of the people in 1911. We are a local structure in Charlotte County of citizens who are stewards of the land, air, water, and government. Biblical concept, stewardship. I would like to introduce to you our regional representative, Cynthia Compton, our water czar, Timothy Ritchie, and we have a professional engineer named Joseph Gilberti, who is our consultant on water, whom will introduce you today to a spectacular water supply for Southwest Florida. And I would like to thank you, especially, for not demanding that we wear a medical device. I am glad to report that in Charlotte County and in Florida, freedom and sovereignty to the people is still alive. Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves in a very turbulent and historic time. My content will reflect that fact. The people are demanding that the Republic and its Constitution be honored and obeyed. We would like to respectfully remind you of your oath to defend that Constitution from enemies both foreign and domestic. We have seen a great conspiracy be manifested before the people of America in the fraud of this election.
Just 1 second. So you
Yes.
have 10 seconds, so if you want to wrap it up or pass it off to somebody else, that would be great, but we're on time schedule here.
Other people have been afforded 3 to 4 minutes. I would
And then
respectfully request the same.
I'm giving you the same
Thank you.
allocation that I gave to everybody else. I'm just warning you where we are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The conspiracy theory of voter election fraud is no longer a theory, it is a fact. And I'm here to tell you that there are over 3,200 architects and engineers that are now saying that the Twin Towers were taken down by an implosion. 300 military officers are saying the same thing. I know I shifted gears quite quickly into an obscure concept, but don't laugh. You'll see it in the courts. 3,200 architects and engineers with professional reputations, I don't think, gentlemen, would put that on the line for a petty cause. Go to our site, militarylert.org, and you will see over 300 of our finest generals, admirals, colonels, CIA people, FBI people, and NSA agents advocating that we have a new investigation because the evidence has indicated beyond any doubt there is a criminal conspiracy.
Just wondering what happened to the microphone.
Might need batteries. Representative Grant, that's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Back to the alleged conspiracy theory. You know, that was a phrase coined by the CIA after our great President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. They wanted to distance the facts from reality. So they coined a phrase called conspiracy theory. And gentlemen, I am here today to report to you that these 300 military officers that you can view on our website, militarylert.org, are not playing around and they're not believing silly conspiracy theories. These are the professionals, the finest men and women in our government that served our country. They died and bled for our freedom. These 3,200 architects and engineers that are alleging, with fact, voluminous amounts of fact and evidence, that the Twin Towers were brought down by controlled demolition. The third building, Building 7, fell at free fall speed at 5:20 in the afternoon without anything hitting it. Please pay attention to these facts. We are in new territory. We are in uncharted water in America. This is a very serious time. We need real men to stand up, which I believe the three of you are, and defend our Constitution and our Republic. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Have a good day.
Cindy Compton. You have 3 minutes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. I've been timing and others have gotten over 4, but I'll do my best. The Word of God tells us that the devil prowls around like a lion, looking to see whom he can devour. And out of nowhere, 2 people have done major damage to this nation. Barack Obama and now Fauci, however you say his name. You guys were talking earlier in this meeting about how you have your work cut out for you this year with your budget. Good. But you get to collect a paycheck while you're under stress. The people who have been led to believe that their life is in danger and that they have to wear a mask. I can't even get a job in this county now because I can't wear a mask. All for control over the people. They listen to you, they listen to the media, and you're filling their heads with lies. All you're doing is creating bacterial infections with these people. And we're shutting down their natural immune system. I don't need a doctor to tell me that. I don't need to be a doctor to know that. It is how God created our bodies. Where this leads me is this election year that we find ourselves in. I believe that if you go down all these rabbit trails, you will find one big place where the tunnels lead to. Control over the people. I am so grateful to know that we have a strong, conservative governor, and I'm assuming board here, to lead Florida, and that we have joined the ranks with Texas to see to it that this election be heard legally and righteously. I am not for Biden or Trump. I am for we the people. This election year has to be redone completely because our nation, we the people, will die without it. The liberty will be gone, and America will no longer be who she is. Our founders did not risk their lives. Our military have not died for this. I understand every person has their place, but you guys have your place in Washington and in Charlotte County. We are counting on you to make sure that our vote counts this year and every year following. Thank you.
Congratulations, you've got about 4.5 minutes. Thank you. Tim Ritchie.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Will you be able to do this in 3 minutes?
Oh, I think 3, 4 minutes. Good morning, Senator Reuters, Representative Michael Grant, and Senator Albert Trent. My name is Tim Ritchie, and I am a resident of Punta Gorda, Isles. I am also the Citizen Water Czar, and I am the founder and president of March Against Mosaic. I am also the water expert for Charlotte County Congress. Do you know what is exactly happening in our backyard up the Peace River and on the Peace River in Polk County and Hardy County? Do you know nobody can find even one blade of seagrass on the Peace River or all of Charlotte Harbor? Why? What is the cause and reason? Are you aware that the Mosaic Fertilizer LLC owns and operates multiple beneficiation mineral extraction chemical plants and over 20 phosphogypsum stack systems that are discharging directly into the Peace River, the North Althea Prong? Are you aware of the Mosaic Bartow Chemical Plant NPDES permit renewal and modification administrative hearing, case number 20-2596? It was filed by myself. It was from May 2020 to August 2020. Timothy M. Ritchie versus Mosaic Fertilizer LLC in the Department of Environmental Protection. I was able to get the petition filed just 2 days before John Coates of FDEP was about to issue the intent, the renewal and modification. He filed an intent to issue on April 25th, 2020. He attempted to sneak it in, but we caught it. This petition was filed because Mosaic Bartow South Phosphate Gypsum Stack System is discharging and was 2.6 million gallons daily into the Peace River. That's over 85 million gallons per month. But now they are allowed to discharge up to 27 million gallons a day. I was railroaded by Administrative Law Judge Francine Folks. She filed an order. She removed all of everybody. Took Jock O'Rourke off my witness list. All of the engineers from Mosaic took off Mr. Lehman and attorney Tom Manson from the Peace River, Minnesota Water Supply Authority. I photographed this. 2/17/2020. Look at the green color. This is phosphogypsum. They are now using it to build our roads in Florida. It causes cancer, bone, breast, and liver. This was the first time I photographed it. On November 29, 2018, guess what I found on the top? A 6-inch wide crack that was 100 feet long. This here, this is the beneficiation plant. They want to put 14 miles from this building on Horse Creek off of the Peace River. This giant thing here, this is a 300-acre clay settling area, will be filled with blended acidic radioactive wastewater, discharging 1 to 30 million gallons per day into the river. This is State Road 70. Right there is Sarasota County line. You go into DeSoto, there's the entrance to this chemical plant. Do you know Mosaic? Everybody says they're so great. Well, 2018, $1.8 billion, not million, $1 billion environmental fine at the Mosaic Green Bay plant, right next to Mosaic Bartow. 6 months after the 2016 Mosaic New Wales Mulberry sinkhole, 215 million gallons burned through the limestone, dumped for 19 days. DEP didn't tell us, Mosaic didn't tell us. The worst part of this is, Mosaic started having cracks at the Mosaic Bartow gyp stack. Yes, sir. I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, to absolutely stop the Mosaic chemical plant that is coming in supposedly 2023. I asked my commissioners on Tuesday to file a resolution. We cannot afford that. None of us can afford that. And I want to thank you for your time and your representation. I want to leave you all with this. I am a registered Republican. I take our environment very serious. I heard stuff about the children and education. We have to stop this chemical plant. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome, sir. I wish we had more time. So it'd be okay if I contacted you?
Sir.
Thanks.
Joe Gilberti, Regional Water Supply. Mr. Gilberti, welcome.
Wanted to leave one for the public. Wanted to take a look at this. I'll use right here. Sure. All right, this chair right here.
Go ahead, sir. You've got 3 minutes like everybody else.
I'm going to try. Good afternoon. My name is Joe Gorda. I'm a professional engineer with the University of Florida. I'm a native from Florida. I own a piece of property with some neighboring ranchers east on Clark Road. We found an underground river years ago that's showing water readings off the plant that has endless capacity. It means I can keep the pipes full. I have the fund. We have a $400 million fund. I'm not asking anyone for money. We have the money. There's reimbursement programs. I'm bringing spring water to the tap. Tap water is based on cancer rates. This thing was hit in 50 years. So when you take a shower, you soak in a liter of water. That's when you get your cancer. So not only will the home guys go through the roofing construction will sprawl, as soon as this is on TV, the cancer risks go down for the children. They're filling cancer centers with kids. When I was a kid, no kids had cancer. So tap water is based on cancer rates. I have pure spring water. The readings are right there. The health department, I have one signature. We have the permit. John Engelhardt knows all about it. Mosaic's next door. I'm going to probably buy perimeter lands to protect this aquifer. We have a 300-mile pipeline all the way down to Miami. It's called the Florida North-South Water Board. I'm sorry, my mouth is a little parched, but my consultant, Jim Murray, he maintains the aquifers in Palm Beach County. He verified the resource in 2013. He also has a fix for the blue-green algae fuel in Lake O. We can burn it off in 3 months. It's contributing to your red tide. It's a fixed fuel. It's a specific blue-green algae that Dow Chemical made for the Obama grant for ethanol in the fuel. They were going to use algae. So we can burn that off. So I clean up the rivers and get you better water supply. All the commissioners know. I had to file some racketeering cases that are public record. There's a public record case there for the CDC. The mask is shown on the $20 bill for 17 years. It's not China. The CDC now knows about the water supply, so they're coming. So I'm asking you guys to take a look at that book. The permits are there. You have the record documents. Pat Lehman knows about it. I'm going to take the reservoirs. We don't need reservoirs. That becomes your power plant. So we're going to be taking down the revenue bonds for power and water and lower the bills for everybody. So you're going to get cleaner water, higher equity, lower cancer rates. Viruses travel through water through pathogens. You got the Pontiac flu, Legionnaire's disease on the AC units. So if you got bad water coming into your house and it's steaming up and hitting your AC units, you could be picking up Legionnaire's disease. It has the same things that the coronavirus is showing. So we need to take a look at this water supply. I have the deeds. Get a work order for your continuing service engineer or anyone you want if you guys want. I know you guys are legislators. What I'm asking is, talk to Ron DeSantis. He knows about it. I actually had to litigate against him. I don't care about the lawsuits. I'm telling everybody where it's at. Nobody's moving a 2,000-foot underground river in the rocks. It's been there flowing 65 million years. It's from a meteor impact from the Yucatan meteor that caused the Gulf of Mexico. So I have the professionals to verify. Really, it takes about an hour to verify this resource. No one's moving it. So you want spring water to the tap? Or you want treated water from a polluted river with mining spills? Mosaic and their goons tried to get it for years. It's the people's water, not my water. So I'm going to reserve the medical and magnetic propulsion national defense rights.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have Heather Walker from Death and Dignity. Heather?
Well, Gordon. My speech is actually 8 minutes, so I'm left with trying to cut and paste the speech together. However, being my technical field experiences, you never assume everything goes smoothly. So I made copies of my speech, but I'm going to cherry pick where I'm going to be hitting on, which I think is important. And other than that, you can read my speech, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
So is 2 each good?
Yep.
In March of this year, the Florida Death with Dignity Act, SB 1800, died in health policy. The Florida state legislature was not considering an aid in dying bill at that time. I suspect that was because of the political timing of the bill. We are post-election now, and hopefully this bill will be considered again. Senator Rader sponsored the bill, and I believe it's a bill to consider. Going to a picked paragraph. Subsequently, she developed dementia. That's my mother, and she's had probably a couple strokes. On her good days now, she does not want to live. She says she's the last one. I can't do anything to help her. Praying for her to go to my dad does not work. An alternate prays for her not to suffer. But on her good days, she laments that she's the only one left and asks about my dad and her brother. I am certain that with a good hand, she would push a button to end it all. Unfortunately, we live in a time where the gap between church and state is shrinking. To be blunt, people in legislative authority use their religion to make their religion a problem to somebody who is not of that faith. Maybe that person is agnostic. What makes it acceptable to force religious belief on another citizen? We're a separation of church and state. Dr. Kevorkian was an American pathologist and euthanasia proponent. He publicly championed a terminally ill patient's right to die by physician-assisted suicide, embodied in his quote, "Dying is not a crime." Dr. Kevorkian had said he assisted in at least 130 patients to that end. In the June 2015 Retro Report story about Kevorkian's legacy and the Right to Die movement, journalist Jack Lessenberry said Kevorkian got a national debate going, which I think he then helped stifle on his own outrageous actions. The Catholic Church in Detroit said that Kevorkian left behind a deadly legacy that denied scores of people their right to humane deaths. The church spokesman said suggests that we can make ourselves God and decide when and how we should die or someone else should die. I did not find what the Catholic Church defines as humane death. It's interesting to observe that human physicians, at least when they are surveyed by academicians, are generally opposed to human euthanasia. A recent survey of U.S. physicians found that 69% object to physician-aided suicide, or PAS, which is as close as we come to euthanasia. And fully 18% object to terminal sedation, and 5% to withdrawal of life support.
30 seconds, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll just go to my wrap-up part. In these times of declining incomes for the middle-class people and classes, the inability to save for later life sometimes need to be done. My mother's costs for her care and housing are in excess of $50,000 a year. Her funds are going to supporting a life she does not want. My recommendation is for rewriting this bill, use the KISS method, keep it simple, Senate. No need for pages of terms, only to arrive at a confusing document. The Death with Dignity Act is truly needed for the Florida and its citizens. It should be a fundamental right for an individual, death with dignity. And if you ever watch somebody going through their last moments, they deserve to end that. So, thank you for your time, and I wish you happy Hanukkah and a great holiday.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Next up, we have Justin McBride. Welcome, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, no problem. I'm the executive director
Director of the West Coast Inland Navigation District. Hopefully you guys have heard of us. We're a 4-county special taxing district that was created by the state in 1947. We are the local sponsor for the federal waterway that stretches from Lake Okeechobee all the way up to Anclote River up near Tampa. The district is making a one-time request of $2 million for an operations center. We are providing a 66% match in the land, the engineering, and the permitting for that. Our 4 member counties are Lee, Charlotte, Sarasota, and Manatee. We have letters of support from the Florida Association of Special Districts, the Marine Industries Association of Florida, Southwest Florida Marine Industries Association, and the Tampa Bay Marine Industries Association. This item is included in the Charlotte County slate of legislative platform, Lee counties as well, Sarasota's as well, and Manatee's as well. Our chair, I was going to introduce him, but he's taking his leave, is Commissioner Constance. Our governing board is 1 county commissioner from each of the 4 boards. As I said, we were created in 1947. We have never had our own facility. We support, we support the Marine Industries Association and also the county infrastructure for boating. And you may or may not be aware, during COVID, boating industry is one of the few economic engines that's kept the state going. And it's key for us to keep this economic engine going so that we can serve the public in the best way possible. You have information in your packets, and I'll make sure that your aides have the expanded version of that before I leave today. So,
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Natoli. Welcome, Tom. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Michael. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all 3 of you for the elections and your appointments. Well deserved, and we look forward to working with you. I'm here, after looking at the agenda, as the only person that's representing small business. I'm the chairman and founder of Integrity Employee Leasing, a PEO right here in Punta Gorda. We are about 85% of our businesses that we work with are in Florida. They are your constituents. They are also the people that bring in the tax money. Our businesses also primarily hospitality, restaurants, along with construction. The reason that I'm here today is to talk about unemployment. We received on October 24th our second quarter results for unemployment. It was 80% of taxable wages. That has never gone above 5%. We were unable at the time, and actually, if you don't know, PEOs take care of workers' compensation. We are responsible for unemployment taxes and payroll, and right now we have several thousand employees that we take care of throughout the state. 15 states, about 90% in Florida. We received October 24th our second quarter results, and they were through the roof. And because of that, I am very concerned that within the next week or so, we will receive the 2021 unemployment rate. If you look at the Department of Economic Opportunity, a website for the state, it states right on there that no employer, no small business will be responsible for any COVID-related unemployment. Every one of those, because going back to that time, if you think about it, we could not even respond to those unemployment claims. We could not fight those unemployment claims if they were fraudulent, if they were necessary, or if they were COVID-related. This is huge, and as we're looking ahead, we're looking at possibly a second shutdown of the economy. We're looking at more unemployment. Florida, fortunately, is one of the few states that are 100% open in the hospitalities, at least in Charlotte County. And I'm asking right now that you take a look at it. I'm also asking that possibly if we could arrange for a meeting with Dane Eagle, with DEO, for my CEO and for my CFO to discuss this, because we're talking millions and millions of dollars that's going to impact small businesses that are damaged, that have already been damaged, and will continue to be damaged when they receive these numbers. And I know, Michael, as a small business owner yourself, it's going to impact you as well. And I appreciate you taking a look at unemployment in Florida, because it is going to be huge. So again, this is millions and millions of employees that have already been damaged, business owners that will not be reopening their businesses. And now we're going to hit them again with increased unemployment. So I'm asking that you take a look at that and possibly help me arrange a meeting with Dane Eagle. Thank you very much for your time.
You bring up a very great issue that is going to impact the legislature next year.
Yes.
Next session. So thank you for doing that. Thank you. Jacob Barton. No, Jacob. You first. second to the last. You
Well-
saved the best for last.
I can't say that I don't agree with that statement. But good morning, good morning,
Are
good
you a
morning.
politician?
No, sir. Not yet, at least, not yet. But thank you, my name is Jacob Martin. I am the current Director of Governmental Relations within the student government at Florida Gulf Coast University. And I just wanted to speak and give you a student perspective, my opinion, as well as in the voice of the 15,000 students that we represent as student government. But before I get into that, thank you for current funding and previous funding that has been allocated to us so far. All of those investments have allowed Florida Gulf Coast, our president, and our board of trustees to focus on year-to-year retention as well as graduation rates, so that we can increase that every year and make sure that our university is doing the best that we can to put educated leaders throughout the state, country, and world. Our first legislative request is for the water school. We want to become a cornerstone in water quality issues that plague Florida, both home and abroad. We want to assess, study, and correct those issues that so many people here in this room so far today have said they've been affected by. Beyond that, our University of Distinction request will not only help our students, our university, and our region, but the state as a whole, and put us far ahead of the game in the state university system. We are young, but we are powerful, and we would love to expand our reach to students now and the future, as well as our alumni. Finally, our nursing program already turns out exceptional results. We are a small but powerful program, and the allocation that we're asking for, and that will allow us to double our program size with another 88 students, as well as I believe it is 11 staffers as well, to keep our student to faculty ratio small. We want to put our stamp in the nursing program and allow ourselves to stay right up with all of the other programs throughout the state. And to give a student's perspective on that, Hope Weinreich, she's currently in her final year of the program. She's doing her clinical rotations, and she says that thanks to our Florida Gulf Coast nursing program, her compassion for taking care of those in need, helping the sick, it was already there, it was strong, but she said it has never been stronger thanks to the program and the dedication that they've allowed her to put in. Currently, she does not have any plans after her graduation other than she wants to stay in Southwest Florida. She wants to work there, she wants to take care of our region, and I think that is amazing. If I can say myself, that she went to school here, she worked here while she was going through school, and she wants to stay here. So I think that is all the more reason to assist this program and allow it to grow more. So if there are any questions, I can answer any questions. If not, thank you for having me. I hope I stayed under my time limit.
Yes, you did. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.